Hey, Alexus Love Beauties and Flawless Man. Welcome back to part 9 of what I learned from. Today we're going to be talking about what I learned from siblings. That's right. I ain't gonna lie, siblings can be some of the messiest people, honey. Let me tell y'all what I learned. Siblings are also very loving and kind for what they can give, because we all may have lived in the same household and grew up the same way, but we all have different agendas. We all have different mindsets. So I'm going to let you know what I learned about the siblings, whether messy or good. Number 1, treat everyone with respect. I think sometimes that siblings think that because you're related to them that they're not supposed to respect you. I think that siblings believe that just because they feel like they know you because you grew up in the same household, that you don't get equally yoked respect that they give to their partners or their friends, and that is not true. You should even give them more respect and show them more love to the people that you actually grew up with. So siblings, treat everyone with respect, including your brothers and sisters. These are humans. You don't get to disrespect them because you're related to them. I mean, we see siblings fighting and different things like that, and that is not necessary. Treat everyone with respect, whether that's your brother, whether that's your friend or not, because everybody deserves respect. Number 2, no special treatment. Just because you have a sibling, they don't get any special treatment. Like, we're not going to enable your bad behavior because we're related. I see this all the time. I probably did it a couple times, but it's not fair, because just because we're related, if I'm going to say, oh, I'm my brother's keeper and I'm going to ride behind my family doing this and this and that, and you're wrong, then that makes me wrong. That makes us wrong. And then we're all going the wrong way. So as a sibling, that does not mean you get to enable their bad behavior. If they are willing to accept the wisdom from you, then righteously correct your sibling, but do not enable bad behavior just because y'all related. Don't be turning up talking about we ride or die or nothing like that. The same way that you would check a friend about trying to get involved in something is the same way that you would check a family member, like, hey, what's going on, what's your side of the story, what you did in this. We are not enabling bad behavior just because we're related. Number 3, their business is not yours. Separate business from personal. Just because you have siblings does not mean that everything that they grow through, everything that you go through or grow through is their business. And at the point of being adults, you can keep things to yourself. And that's kind of where I messed up a lot, because you would think that because you have siblings that they would keep these things a secret. But again, everybody don't think the same, or everybody has different agendas when they get older, and that's how fine and dandy. Just forgive them. But the number one thing that we're not going to do is be in their business, because they're adults. So if your sibling, now this is for adults. If they're children, then that's a different story. You want to make sure that you're protecting your younger brother or sister. But if they are adults, they have their own business. They have their own lifestyle. They're paying their own bills. They're able to make their own decisions. So we're not going to be in their business unless they put us in their business. Did they invite us in? If our siblings did not invite us in and they don't want to hear our output, or sometimes they do invite you in and they do want to hear your output, and if they don't take the information, then just leave it right there. But their business is their business. We're going to separate this business from us being siblings as a form of respect. Number 4, keep it to yourself. Let me see what I have wrote down. It says, number 4, keep it to yourself. If you told one sibling something, doesn't mean they have to tell everybody else. As siblings, I don't know what it is, but sometimes siblings feel like they just got to tell everybody else. If I tell my brother something, I'm not expecting him to go tell my mom, my other brothers, my sisters, no cousin. That's between me and you. Keep it to yourself. Sometimes it's not, I don't think it's like a pedestal thing. It just might be who you're comfortable with. It might be who you're more open with. It might be you're telling this person because they're going to give you good advice. It might be you're telling this person because they're going to, they'll understand, versus somebody else. So if your sibling is comfortable telling you anything, especially the darkest things, then keep that to yourself. You don't have to go tell your mom. You don't have to go tell your cousin, because if they wanted them to know, they will let them know. And then typically it'd be so bold because it usually comes out in front of a whole lot of people, which you done told them. Ma'am, sir, keep that to yourself. If somebody feel comfortable telling you something, keep it to yourself, because that's still respect. That's still privacy. And just because we're siblings don't mean you're supposed to be out here exposing people's business. Number 5, don't expose your siblings' secrets to your friends, your partners, or anyone. Again, that kind of correlates with number 4, just off the family side. Don't expose your siblings' business. that is just is not healthy. And we, if we believe karma is a real thing, then we don't want that coming back around on us. So be secretive. If somebody tells you something, if your sibling trusts you with something and they didn't relay that information to the whole world, then you don't relay that information to the whole world, because sometimes people is not comfortable expressing certain things, or they just don't want everybody to know. So if your sibling tell you something, that's not your place to expose that. Every man has their hour where they will be comfortable enough to expose themselves or tell something about themselves. I wonder, because I want to say expose, but it's not your place to tell somebody else's testimony, because 9 times out of 10, you ain't really telling the whole story anyway. You're giving a story from a sibling perspective about how you think it was, how you think it should have been, because you grew up with them. If your sibling tells you something, it is not your place to expose them. Just keep that private, because like I said, karma does come back around. We don't want that. And then if you're on the other end of that, if you have been a sibling that has been exposed and you know something about your family, keep that to yourself, because vengeance is the Lord. So you don't have to go out exposing their secrets and it's this whole family feud. Now everybody got to pick sides because y'all butting heads. Keep it to yourself. That keeps the family out of it. That keeps the relationship out of it. You definitely don't want to tell people in your relationship what's going on with your family, because that's a whole nother ball game. You definitely want to tell your friends what's going on in your family relationship, because that's a whole nother ball game. You never want someone to use the information that you told them against your family. And then if that happens and you're in the middle, then now you feel like you have to pick a side. And sometimes that sibling might not pick your side. So if your sibling feels good to tell you something, do not expose them to any friend, family, relationship, or anything. And that is all that we have here. So 5 things that I learned about siblings. Keep it to yourself. Don't expose the information. Just be wise, be loving, be kind. Like, your siblings is the first person that you come into contact with. And although you lived in the same household, although we're created from the same God, we all have different offices, and we grown up and we believe in different, and we're moving different. We're doing different things. So that doesn't mean that you're greater than your sibling. That doesn't mean that they're less than you because somebody else has something going on. It just means that we're all on different levels. That could be spiritually, mentally, or whatever that might be. If your sibling feel comfortable telling you something, it is not your place. Be careful with doing that. It's not your place to go and expose them. People have their own testimony at the appointed time that they want to give to speak on their own behalf. We know how to speak on our own behalf. So that's just 5 things that I learned from siblings. I'm gonna leave it alone. Like I said, siblings can be loving. They're supposed to be loving because you were the first people that I known. But sometimes siblings can be haters. Like, we don't want to put, we get so confused. We start putting titles on stuff. Just because you're my cousin or just because you're my brother, that don't mean nothing. Like, we have to treat every human as a human because that's who they are. Just because you're related to somebody don't mean you get to disrespect them. Because if you disrespect them and they feel away, then, that could just go different ways. That's not what we want. We don't want feud in the family. We want love in the family. So Alexus Love Beauties and Flawless Man. Those were 5 things that I learned about siblings. We will see you in part 10 of what I learned from.